back to Project Broken Man. We are going to turn this 5.5 foot trailing arm that we had built and you've seen on the truck. And obviously it's been just tacked in and kind of crummy looking for the last, what, month or so? 2 months?
We've been doing so much to everything else.
In to this beautiful powder coated finished product with fish plates. Right now we are looking at pretty much anywhere where you see the fish plate, we are 1/2 inch thickness. So you got 1/4 inch plus 1/4 inch. Those fish plates go on both sides. You can kind of see them in there. And then also over the bend marks on the bottom. He also went ahead and put a plate in here. So this is actually could be used as a tank. We wanted to figure that out, but we love making tanks out of things, I think. But in any case, so that's completely finished out in there. And then we have, you can see, this one goes all the way through. Still have paint to strip off of it. And we also cut this piece off and made it where it's going to have a little more articulation. He dropped this down a little bit. And we went ahead and lengthened that bolt that's right here.
And that's the spring, that's for the spring
hanger.
Well, the foot for the spring hanger, or the spring to set on. It's
right.
Probably needs more powder coat, but I got it hanging in here. I'll bring it over.
Yeah, so overall, I think it came out really quite beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and do one more coat, at least make sure we get that inside. We want these to be super duper strong because they're going to take a beating on the outside of the truck. Obviously we're building this stuff not for beauty, but totally for function.
Yeah.
So
built
yeah,
for hard abuse and use, you know, abusive use. It's really going to be really abused pretty hard. So
we wanted to have a lot. So this in here you can see didn't get quite any kind of powder coat in it, just a little bit. So we're going to be going in there and powder coating that really good. But overall, I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the welds ain't the best, but, you know, we're doing it with an Amazon welder, and, you know, we're practically making camp as we're doing it. We're doing this over the road. So we're building all this at a friend's place, putting this 4-link rear steer under our truck. So it's one of those situations where you do with what you got. This one was mocked up. We got some cutting to do, some welding, some grinding.
Stripping.
Yeah, stripping. But we changed the design on it last moment because we wanted a little more articulation when we were putting it through the articulation on the truck. We were putting it through, we were jacking up one side, jacking down, you know.
Right.
And with this design set up on it, because we were trying to keep it all factory, it just was not given the flex that it needed, and it was putting the front heim joint under a lot of stress. So by changing the design, we took a lot of stress off of the front of the heim joint, which is a smaller area when you want to be careful with that. So yeah, we want to be able to bolt this stuff on and forget about it, literally just maintain it. But this thing is going to get scratched, skint, drug over rocks, you name it, it's going to probably happen to it. So we want a nice coat of powder coat on it, and we'll probably just touch it up. We might even paint them black, we don't know. So it's all about, you know, function. You know, we don't care about, I mean, we're going to do the best we can. But we want it structurally strong, and we want it to, we're building it to last.
Yeah.
So we don't want to have to go back in here a couple of years from now and redesign and redo it again. So we're hoping that this is one and done kind of thing. You know?
So in any case, I want to show you guys the quick before and after. And now you're guys going to see exactly how we made all that happen.
That's right.
So stay tuned. inside, because the last time when we did it, the inside only got one coat because there was just no way to get it because we hung it upside down. Then we flipped it over, did it the opposite way, and of course we're able to get the inside really good. So he's putting a coat in there right now. We're gonna leave the electrode on it while we hang, or we're gonna try, while we hang it up in there upside down. So even when we're preheating it, that first coat will really stay on there good. Now this is a 5-pound box of what's called window gray that we're using on a lot of the truck. We kind of went back and forth on colors. It's doing something real shiny and bright, something really that stood out, and we really are thinking about doing the truck like a sage green rhino line type of color, and we wanted something that would kind of keep everything kind of muted and not flashy. So a lot of the frame and everything is black. We like this gray because it gives it a little bit lighter pop, and it'll all look good with that green when we're all done. So I think it's going to be a real nice combination. So we bought 5 pounds, which we still have probably about 1.5 pounds left. And we actually just have another 5-pound box that just came in today. So you may need to get over there and try to do that. I would say you should probably clip that on something smaller when we're trying to move it.
Where would you like me to clip it?
I don't know, on the hole, or I don't know. I just don't think it's going to stay on that good, but I could be wrong.
Well, I figure it's worth a shot. At the end of the day, if you want me to, I can take the heat gun real quick and heat it up in there and make it stick.
I would do. I think we should do that, at least get it started so it sticks a little better. Okay.
I mean, I think we can, if you get right there, I think you can keep sliding it to me. Where's the rubber pad that goes down in here?
Well, shit, right there on the ground.
Can you slide it this way a little bit and get to it?
Yeah, I'm not huge. That's so we don't scratch it, hurt, or anything else when we're putting in there. Do you want the stool?
Oh, I'm gonna need it to
Lift it on there.
One day we gotta take the time and actually get a lot of these hangers out of there, and we get busy working. And
so this powder coat oven, we built, like I said, we built that size for these trailing arms. We started out with that we were going to build half that size, because what we actually used was 2 dryers, right? Yeah, 2 dryers stacked on top of each other, and it wasn't quite tall enough to fit the 5.5 foot trailing arm in there. So we ended up actually taking a piece of the roof of the truck that he had cut out and making a band all the way around it that gave us the thing. And that whole powder coat oven was less than $300 to build. And that's including the $60 propane
that's
paint
heater, everything.
that we use.
You got your end, right? I got this in. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Ready? Just sit down until I get my.
I don't want you to take
I got it.
Okay.
Get that out of the way. Can you get off of it? Thank you.
Now this is just a Harbor Freight cheapy powder coat machine. I think they were on sale at Christmas for like $50. And like I said, we used 2 recycled dryers to build it. Covered the whole thing with insulation, and then a little bit of glue on to make it look better. You don't need. Okay guys, so there we are. 2 sets of trailing arms. Well, 1 set. 2. I guess the set would be 2. I don't know. But the trailing arms are here, guys. And we have them both powder coated. This one actually needs to be powder coated again. It's a little light in some places. It pretty much takes 2 coats usually, and you usually have to do it from 2 different directions. You can see there's a lot of spots here that we have to re-get too in here. We tried to go ahead and do it beforehand and turn it upside down, and that kind of didn't work. So, but in any case, we just don't want any spots that we can have rust start to live. But they're looking pretty beautiful. Oh, so we're gonna go back to doing this. I'm gonna make some supper, and then I'm gonna drag my husband to bed. So right now, Wade is busy basically strengthening up the bottom brackets for the...
Well, it does a lot of things. So it's going to strengthen up the bracket. It's also going to build me a good platform to strengthen this pan.
That's going to be 100% welded out, as well as have a top and
cap, yeah,
and a little piece that covers into that side as well. So the whole thing's completely strong, I guess is the best way to put it. And then we're going to mirror everything on this side. Going to have a piece that runs Hey guys, so I come out and my impatient husband, if you look, we have 2 trailing arms, powder coated. One's not all the way down, but he was already out here fitting it all on his own. So he's had to grind and cut, grind some more.
We got a lot of welding to do. We changed up our situation there.
Yeah, because we had cut this and made it just one. Actually,
this used to have 2 mounts. So a mount right here. This used to come up and go down, and I was going to run it single track, but I got worried that the 1.25" I had some 1.75" ones coming, and they never showed for like a month and a half. So I decided to go with the 1.25". So the 1.5" were back stock, so I went 1.25" ends. So that would have worked out pretty good with a panhard bar. The way I was going to do it, I wasn't going to run upper A-arms or upper links. But anyway, I decided against that once everything just started falling apart. So couldn't get them out. I couldn't get these 1.75". They were in back order for several more months. So I said, the heck with it. I want this truck done. So I decided to cut the boot off of it, go with the upper links, do away with the panhard bar, and so that's what we did. So
plus it gives us more, I think it gives us more flex too. I really do.
Yeah, it's going to give us a lot more flex too, I guess. There's a lot of goods to come with the bads, or the extra work I should say. Is nothing really bad. But cutting these out, we got to make them stronger, because this one over here is cast iron, that one over there is metal. So we are actually, you know, we'd already did a upper and lower bridge on this, or truss I should say. So we are going to build a stronger attachment points.
Yeah.
For
so we're going to beef those up. So they're
trailing arms. So my wife wanted you guys to see. I said it'd be better if you guys waited and seen the finished product, but she wants to see the struggle, how we are going, what we're going through to make this happen. So,
Yeah.
as you guys can see, I did have to cut back one of these that strengthens this going down. I didn't take much. I just kind of ground it down and brought it a little closer.
To fit that in there, though, it had to be
able
done.
to fit that upper link in there. I think we got it. I don't think it's going to move back that far. I think it's actually going to be sitting more about like that.
Yeah,
on
once
it,
it's in
but
there.
we do need it to be able to flex.
It has a lot more flex now, though. I mean, it really does, honey.
Oh, well, it should, you know, and it will. Like I said, it's just the biggest thing is we need to see about how level this is compared to this.
I see.
So this needs to be almost a perfect 90.
Right, and we need to go ahead and we're going to run some metal in there and weld that together and strengthen those holes up as well. And as we said, we'd like to be able to do this rear end truss system as a tank, since it's pretty much welded out 100%. So this holes will all be closed up as well. And we're going to strengthen this area up with some steel and make that a lot more solid. Also, it'll go back to this piece, which will go ahead and hold this up as well as give that some more strength. So
I can tell by looking at this, it's not completely a 90.
not completely a 90.
So I'll have you pull the bolt back out of it. This still got to get powder coated again, guys. I found some little places that this is the first coat, so
Well, you kind of always have to go one way and then go the other way, because you can't, or you just end up putting
No, I
so
know,
much
but this
powder
was
on.
top. That should have filled in better, but it didn't. It's all right. The point is, at the end of the day, it's going to get scratched and everything fitting this off and on. So it's better to go ahead and do it now than to go ahead and powder coat it and then get everything as flawless as possible and then turn around and have to scratch it all up. I want this to be able to roll back under the truck, slide the bolts in it.
And we're done with the rear end for a while until we are ready to actually do the axles and the chunk and all that kind of stuff.
So that's where we're at, guys. We'll give you guys some more here soon. Stay tuned. We're tired. We've been doing this non-stop now for about a month and a half. Putting this 4-link under, cutting, adding the frame, and working.
He
on
looks
camper.
really tired, doesn't he, guys?
I'm tired.
My God. So I'm sorry we're not more upbeat.
My wife, she leaves and she goes home back to Mississippi, and she's got her friends and all that stuff. I'm one of those guys that I literally stay in this shop day in, day out. I don't go anywhere. If I got the parts I need, I don't leave. And usually if I don't have the parts I need, I send her to go get them while I stay and work. So, you know, it's kind of like being in jail almost, except you can do stuff, you know.
But he doesn't leave the shop a whole lot. We were talking about that today. We never know what day of the week it is, and everything kind of runs together when you're here. And I do get out a whole lot more than he does.
Like today's Friday, right? Or
no, I think it's a Thursday.
all right, so tomorrow I got a call about the lockers,
Yeah.
the gearing. I was just sitting there thinking about that earlier, and like I told her, I'm like, you know, is this a weekday? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, we need to call about the lockers and find out exactly what we're doing. And I'm kind of at that. I've got to change the gears in the front of the truck when I do the lockers. So I'm thinking maybe I might do the same. You know, it's going to add a little bit to it. I may change the rear lockers to some lower gears too. That's why I want to call them and see what kind of program or what kind of deals they got if you do front and back lockers and gears.
Do you think changing it from a 430 and going even lower?
Yeah, I mean, if we go with the transmission doubler like we're talking about, we'll be plenty low enough off-road, I think.
I know.
with
I'd like to really weigh on that doubler right now.
And then I like the fact that, I know, but I'm saying down the road on the doubler, but I'm saying like right now, it's not going to be as low as I want it to be without the doubler.
I have to say though,
Off-road.
that truck's still
On road,
crawled by itself. I mean, you really could walk next to it even with the 373s. Yeah.
And then off-road, I mean on-road, I was thinking keep it at 430 gears, because if you jump on the interstate or you know, jump on the freeway, you don't want to be over revving the engine you know. So that's the reason I was saying transmission doubler and keeping it at 430s. 430s is pretty low, you know. So I don't know. I'm gonna kick it around, think about it some more. Worst case, like we talked about in the beginning, we'll just go with 430s in the front. And these are 433s
430.
or four? No, I think these were.
The 430s.
Okay. I got the tag over there. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I just know because it was 373, 410s, and 430s. We were going to a 410 when we had bought that 410s to change the 373s in the front and the rear. And then we bought these for 430s.
I don't know why, but anyway, 430 gearing's pretty good for off-roading. And if you have a transmission doubler, I think we're going to be right there where we need to be as far as the crawling goes. I just wanted that extra low gears kind of deal, but I do agree with a transmission doubler and it's set up right. 430 should be all we should need. I was just thinking, we were talking about pulling a trailer behind this later on and doing other things and being on the highway. I still think 430 is going to be fine, but you know, we're talking about going to 46s next year whenever these wear out. So I just thought if we're going to do it now, because if you go up, like I was just thinking like 456s or something like that. Because if you go up from 430, anything below a 456, you have to change out that planetary or whatever that is, the where the ring gear bolts on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your locker.
Mm.
So if we decide to go lower next year,
We could do lockers and
tire
everything.
size, you have to change out the lockers, ring gear, all that. But if you do it now, you get the lockers for 456s. Then anything above 456 will still fit that ring gear.
We'll see.
what I'm
It's
saying?
money's gonna come into play with it too, honey. We don't have
Yeah.
$10,000 to throw at lockers and new gearing and new axles, and I wish
No.
we did. We just don't.
I know that, and that's why I'm saying I was just,
So
if they got a good deal on them and they're a good sale or what have you, if like let's just say if we can get them for $1,000 locker and gears. I know that sounds crazy, but I have seen them cheap like that before.
if you
And
get them
that's
like
$2,000
that,
to
then
do
I will
front and
figure
back.
that.
That's what I'm saying. But if that's $1,000 for the front,
Oh, that was
$1,000
$2
for-
grand. Oh, forget it.
Yeah,
I was thinking you're saying
that's
$1,000 overall.
That's cheap.
Yeah, well.
I mean, that's super cheap. My point is, if you can do them both, right now I'm looking at the lockers for this rear is going to be $655.
Yeah, and that pretty much is no matter what we do, but that's for
That's
the front.
just for the lockers.
I know.
But if you can get the gears, the lockers, all of it for around $1,000, just see what I'm saying? Then $2 grand and it's done, and you're running 456s in it. It's not that much more. It's not that much lower of a gear than a 430. You see what I'm saying? Or a 433, whatever they are.
Well, I guess you better start bringing in more jobs.
I know. Point is, now you don't have to change that ring gear. If you decide that we need 488s or 500s or whatever it is, I think that ring gear still fits those.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think
Like
we
I'm
get
looking at a
low
lot of
gear.
those guys and they're running like 510s or 518s.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys, you have to remember, they drag their house, or they drag their car out, they run it around, they break it, they get to bring it back
and
to their
it's in
shop.
the wreckers and stuff like that too. That's not the point.
So,
I'm just telling you, we're going to be off-road more than we are on-road. So we got to do the math now. We need to talk to people that know more about it than we do and start having these conversations. So when we do this job, we only do it once. If it costs us a little more green now, and that's what what's best for the truck, then that's what's going to happen.